for nothing else, just so that the view is nicer. You can see the trowel that I'm working on. It's kind of the whole workshop area on this side. It's become very overgrown with stuff, as a craft area tends to do. I do a lot of 3D printing stuff, so I have a lot of random tools up here, taking up residence on my desk. But, alright, let's work on this guy. Let's start with the back of the emerald, because this is the most complicated part of it, honestly. And after making so many of these, I've learned a lot about the best order of operations. My cat's got the zoomies. Cover these parts. I'm going to close it a little bit just to get a little more glue in this little crevice. But I keep it open when I'm working on this part because I don't want someone to open it and then knock all their gems off. That should be pretty common sense, but some people just don't understand, so whatever. This is my favorite thing. This is for diamond art, but I use the wax. Small fuzzies. I use the wax that I use on my rhinestoning pen. Put it at the tip of this because the wax that came with the rhinestone art stuff just doesn't work the same. And now I have this super comfy tool that I can use. So this is usually where I start using a couple of different sized stones. I've avoided it so far, but I do think I'm gonna need a couple just on this part. I love doing detail work on these, but it is incredibly time consuming, as any detail work is. So I try to avoid it when I can, but no, I think I can fit 2 regular size ones here. Yeah, okay, it works. Never mind. It's this little part right there. But it works. Alright, now we speed run this part. Let's see if I can hold this in a way that y'all can see. I like to let these sit just right at the edge so that when it closes, it kind of covers and you don't see the line on the container. I have some 3D printed ones that I've been prototyping that I will show in a minute. That screw close that are bigger. I love those. And then I have like, if I can get to it, I have the master hold. So ideally, eventually, I would like to make this one that screws closed like the others. And then I would have the master emerald that can be filled with some smaller ones. Actually, the artist that got me on this site is, I think it's Rebel War Pig Designs. He does Sonic and Star Wars stuff and all kinds of stuff. He's the one that recommended this site to me. I bought a set of 7 teeny tiny Chaos Emeralds from him. I say teeny tiny, they're like maybe an inch each. That fit inside of like the container one that I have, that I made. So now I'm like, ooh, I have to rhinestone all the little ones. But that's gonna take a lot of little itty bitty stones. Which I don't have tiny stones in every color, but I do have clear. I do have clear stones that should do the job because the clear stones reflect. Like they reflect with that AB shine on them, but they still show whatever color is beneath them. So I use them a lot of times if I need to just kind of fill in a little spot somewhere. But, you know, when I can find tiny detail stones, I like to use those. And I'm just going back over on this side. I like to kind of meet myself in the middle with these, just in case if sometimes there's like a little bit of a gap. But we should be okay here. Seeing you. I do a lot of rhinestone work. My most popular one, I think, is what I chose for my profile picture, my Loki helmet. But I feel like the Sonic Emeralds and Rings are probably the most, I guess, viral, if you want to go there, that I've done. Alright, and here's the last one. This little round. There we go. Perfect. And got the little cover. And then from here it's just going up. I leave it open though, still, just to be safe, until these start to dry a little better. I could actually clean this up just a little bit down here. There's a little excess. I do all these by hand. I've tried using like the strip rhinestones, but they just don't look as good. They just don't. So go ahead and fill in this spot here. think it takes me roughly about an hour or two to make these now. I've kind of got it down to science. Whenever I have like bigger rhinestones, obviously they don't take as long with the bigger ones. But it's just so hard to find, and they're way more expensive, and you know, tariffs. I've made some with small rhinestones. I've had people request that I do like darker colors in some of the different facets, which like you can kind of see the facets on here. And I've done it, but once I feel like once it all comes together, you can't really see the detail work unless if you really are looking super close. Which sucks, but you know, it is what it is. See, the reason I use this glue, one, non-toxic, two, it goes on white and it dries clear. And also, if I'm using flatback stones, which are the ones that are like metallic on the back, it won't strip that backing if I need to take the stones off or move them. Plus, I mean, it's just meant for gym work. I have a lot of health issues, so like the last thing I need is like inhaling toxic glue all the time. So there's a little, where'd my little thing go? Not these. Should be right here. I'm gonna snip a little piece of the plastic that's on here. There's like a little piece that's sticking out. Yeah, it looks better. It's a lot better. I love this little pen tool. I love this a lot better than the normal ones. But I pretty much crafted this. I hate when I go to pick up a stone and there's two of them stuck together. And usually I go about like almost halfway around and then I start from the other end. That way I don't end up with like a weird gap in the middle. I find this glue is very flexible too. Like I can still move things around without it looking really bad. Like you see, I just dropped that. Now I'm just gonna leave that there. But I've got to re-up on these. I finally have sold a lot of them. And I've got a con coming up, so. How do y'all like this site? Those of you that are here, that are popping in. This is my first time doing a stream on here. That stone shouldn't be in here. That's not a clear back, that's a solid back one. It happens. Alright, now we're gonna start with this side. This site was recommended to me by a friend who's had some pretty good success on here, and I liked what I heard, and I've been checking it out for a couple of days, trying to get a feel for it, and I really like it. So I hope I can make this work out. I think it's just a matter of figuring out like the style of streams people like to see on here, and then like the auction thing. I haven't done that before. And then also just like finding finding the right kind of like fans of the things that I make. Because it is art, but it's also like collectible, accessory, craft. Like it kind of falls under a lot of different categories. So you see, this is what I mean when I go the opposite way so that I can kind of meet myself in the middle. So that there's no awkward gaps and I can space it out. And that worked perfectly. Next line. Yeah, and these are clear backed, so the color that's under them shows through, as you can kind of see on the bottom. Go. It just gets faster and faster as I work on them, though. I mean, like, because like the gem gets smaller. So I just try to get these as close as they can. I think I'm gonna find a way to start like polishing these afterwards, because it's the only thing I don't like with jelly rhinestones is they just kind of like, the finish on them kind of fade, and I feel like I could probably seal them kind of like with a really thin coat of like gloss Mod Podge, and that would help seal the finish on them. That was good. Accidentally knocked one off. See, like, this doesn't dry like super fast like some other glues, so when one falls off or if it gets a little crooked or not, it's pretty easy for me to kind of just go in there and move it around a little bit. As long as I can still see the glue, you know, it's still a little flexible. I think one can fit here, but so this is where it gets a little complicated, where it's like there's like a little gap and trying to find, make sure all of them are right next to each other so that I can fit just one more. Let's see, come on. It's like just barely not big enough. And I might have a smaller stone I can use, like one size smaller. But make sure everything is right next to each other. One, come on. There we go. Yay. On to the third level. You can kind of see some of these, some of the glue is starting to dry, which this can also be, before it dries all the way, I know I can kind of just wet it a little, but I'd rather not. I'd rather just, actually, yeah, I am at the top of this line, so this part up to the top goes really fast, so. Just gonna fill that in. Smooth it out. I don't want any like clumpy glue. When I'm working on bigger things, I just squeeze this glue into like a little tub like you would with paint, and I just use a brush and brush it on. But this is pretty small, so I don't feel like it's like necessary. Getting a phone call. I don't know if I can answer that while I'm streaming, or if I can pause. Hello? Hello? Yeah, sorry about that. I don't need someone calling from Spectrum. I have a lot of doctor related things I always have to look out for call wise, so I try not to miss a call. I don't have my watch on me right now. Also, hey, I don't know why my chat wasn't showing me, Will. I just saw the chat. I realized that Restream wasn't signed in, and like it just popped up on my little chat window. Sorry about that. And if I accidentally ignored you. I'm doing alright. I'm glad you like the Anakin. That's one of my favorite things I've done. I put a lot of time into that for May the 4th festival, and for the shows we did at Always. I'm glad I got to do it at WasabiCon. Yeah, I just realized my restream chat wasn't up. Sorry. He was just showing me Twitch chat. I'm multi-stream. I'm checking out this Whatnot app right now, and then also I also stream on both YouTube and Twitch. Oh, that's where. See, as the lines get smaller, it gets a little more complicated to get everything to fit. But I've gotten pretty decent at it. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. There's always just like a weird gap back here where the little seam is. But see what I mean? How like as it gets closer to the top, it zooms. It's so much easier. But I also do this a lot, so I work through it pretty fast. Alright, I think this will fit one, and then two, and then this should be the final layer at the top, which looks like I think I'm gonna have to stagger the stones. Instead of doing 2 layers, I'm gonna go like kind of like a zigzag. Or I might do a layer of small stones at the top. Let's see. We'll see. I might just do 1 layer of small stones around the top. And this one is not fitting. This top layer that kind of make sure everything underneath is good. Hello, hello, hello. Does this show how long? 30 minutes? Okay. Dang. I'm getting faster at these. I've made a lot of them, so kind of comes with the experience. I need to refresh this wax soon, though. So like there's 2 things I can do when there's a small gap like this. Like I can either space them out or I can use teeny tiny ones. And like I don't know, I'd rather the detail. Even though like it would be easier just to create some space. I like having these be like completely encrusted. I don't like there being space. I want them covered. Where did that come from? Dab some more glue down there. That's not good. Take both of these off, actually. We do the top. a small little layer and around the edge on top, which I have to get the glue on like really thin because it's really tiny stones, so you don't want them like swimming in glue. Bust out some of the little stones. This is where it gets crazy. Gotta make sure this is at a good tip. See, these are almost smaller than I even want to use. But the other ones I have are a little different color-wise. But might work. I don't know. Let's see. They're not clear back, but they are still the same color. These. I have these have spilled all over the place. I have a bad habit of leaving these like towers open. They're everywhere. There are rhinestones everywhere. Yeah, I think these would be better, even though they're technically a slightly different color. I think these are a better choice overall. These itty bitty ones just take so much more time to place. Excuse you. No, no, no. I'm sitting here. I love you and appreciate you. He's like, I'm coming sit. Oh no. Wax. This wax is hanging by a thread right now. We're almost there. Come on. There we go. Trying to get these kind of like lined up as even as I can, even though I know it's not going to be a straight line. Looks good to me. I'm going to close this before I spill them. And then all that's left is to fill in the top. Fit these in snug with the small ones around the border. And then after that, I just let it dry like this and it's done. Got the border. Making sure all the smaller stones are still on there, that they weren't pushed out, and then we go on with the next layer. Also, hello, 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 hello. That's cool. My phone just gave me a notification to let me know my Apple Watch is done charging. That is pretty cool. Alright, these are probably the last ones right here. Let's see if I can fit two. Maybe one more little one. Where'd that little one go? There we go. Yeah, this wax definitely needs to be replaced. Some of these ones on the edges are... This is the same one that I just put back earlier, too. Sometimes when the ones on the edges... This doesn't really actually happen often, though. Sometimes when these edge ones give me trouble, I go in with the B7000 to secure them. I like using gem tack. Personally, I like that it goes on white, dries clear. I can move my gems around, and if I'm using like foil black ones, it doesn't strip the backing on them if I have to like peel them off or move them. It's also like non-toxic, but otherwise I like using B7000, especially for like little detail things. But I'm pretty married to my gem tack. Because like this is it dried. You know, this is the part that I just did. So, gonna let that dry. Yeah, that looks good. I always just check and like gently press over all of them to make sure they are all on and down and secured where they need to be. Alright, I'm gonna let that dry. And I'm gonna finish one of these in the meantime. Or I guess start another one of these. Let's pick these green, all this green up, because I'm done with the green. Let's get the yellow out. Let's get this over there. Let's get the yellows. I did just finally 3D print some. These are, I think, about 4.5 inches versus the ones I 3D printed are 5. Let's see. These are thinner too. Just by a little bit, but this is what they look like finished. I had a commission for a couple of them, so this will be the third one in the commission. I have to do these kind of like in you know, I have to do these bit by bit because I have to let like each side dry before I turn it over to the other side because they're circular. Just my finger in the glue. But I usually start the... Oh, all the wax just came off. The wax just disappeared. Well, I need to re-up the wax anyways. This is an old pin that I like, but I like the wax that are on these. So I kind of just grab off of the edge, create a new wax tip. Alright. So I usually start these in the center because there's like a seam line. So I usually start there. It's a little difficult because of the curve. Because I still have to kind of tilt them to one side or the other to cover this. Which I have these, I think, as well in my little, there, yeah. I finally got the repairs, the parts I needed for my 3D printer, so it's back up and running, so now I have the 3D printed ones as well as the foam. Some people just prefer the foam. But the 3D printed ones are customizable, size-wise at least. I like these foam ones though for a lot of reasons. Between like, they're just simple little cosplay accessories. They're cheap and easy to make and to get and sell. And I feel like these work really good as bracelets. At least if you have small enough hands. With like the Sonic gloves. If you get like the plushy white gloves, you know. I think they work really well with those. Or you can, you know, clip them onto a belt like an accessory. Like, they're just a good size. I'm gonna print some of the actual like bangle type bracelets soon. Like the inhibitor ring type ones. Tap all of these down, make sure they're kind of on that line. Some of them have this tendency to try to overlap on each other. We don't want that. Gotta just go down the line, make sure that they're all relatively in the place they're supposed to be. I'm not going very perfect line here. I mean, I covered the entire thing, so like it's fine. I just like to put this initial line down where that seam is on the foam to cover it. I'm filling this little gap, which is where I was holding it. And this is the tricky thing with these, is that you have to kind of do them one side at a time. Like I almost have to lay it down, do one side, let that dry, flip it over, do the other side. Just because of the curve on these. Because like, there, you've got to be able to hold it somewhere, or it's got to be able to lay down. So that's the only thing that takes some considerable amount of time on these, is all the in-between waiting time for it to dry. Even though I kind of hang these when I paint and stone them, I put them up. I have these little like hangers. They kind of just go like this on. Alright. There we go. Making sure these are all down. And then we choose what side, I guess. Pretty much. Because I have to hold it like from the inside. We're gonna do this side. Doesn't matter how many of these I make, I still haven't found like, oh, this is the best way to do it. You know? Like with the emeralds, like I definitely know like this is the best way to do the emeralds. But these are just tricky because they're rings. But we'll just fill in the gaps. This is what they look like completed. These are like the little rings from Sonic. They work as little bracelets or accessories or just collector's items. I made a batch for Baby No Money and Jessica Negri, and Young Gravy and Stella Chu and Charlie Moist Critical for their Sonic group cosplay. This is same thing but a little smaller, easier to make. They're not like the giant 10-inch ones, but I will be making some more of those. I just kind of got on here, so I'm still feeling out how, you know, how this site works exactly as far as like best way to stream and advertise and have things up for sale. I noticed like the auctions go really well, but these are a little difficult auction wise because it's like there's definitely like a set price for these, but I wouldn't mind doing flash sales, but I'm still kind of feeling it out, trying to see yeah, just feeling it out, really learning it. I did like that there's a like trial, like a mock stream that you can do. That was really cool, so that like I could kind of see how they go. But right now I'm kind of restocking. I work mostly by commission, but I have a convention coming up soon, so I'm making a good bit of stock for that in the upcoming weeks. But all of these are handmade. Technically one of a kind. But I rhinestone all kinds of stuff. lately it's been Star Wars and Sonic. But these work basically as bracelets as well. I wear them with my cosplays as bracelets. I've seen people make like boas and bangles and use them for keychains, all kinds of stuff. When I went to the craft store this week, they were out of this glue except for like a teeny tiny bottle of it, which was really wild. I guess that's just my influence. Everyone's like, oh, well, you use this glue, so now we're gonna use it. I don't know. I'm just being funny. I don't think my influence is that huge that it would sell out my local Michaels of Gentech. But who knows? Because the paint that I use on these is also like almost always sold out, and I'm like, do they just not restock this? Is it me? Am I the one buying all of it? Who knows? I'm gonna have to get some more of these out of the container in a second. I rhinestoned a bunch of little duckies around Easter, and so I used a lot of these. These yellow stones get more use than I thought they would. I need to find all the Jeep people that want rhinestone duckies for their Jeeps. Time for the next round. We're already 3 layers in. Working pretty fast. I want to finish this so that I can move on to this 3D printed one that I just did. Because like this is the last one that I have to finish for a commission. So I want to have this one done, and then I can start working on the new ones. keep shaking them up, but they don't want to flip around, and I don't like sitting there trying to flip them around myself. The ones that come in the little corners though are pretty easy because you just push them to the side. Why y'all doing this? Why y'all acting like that? There's like one that's like squished. And it's causing all the other ones to act like they don't got space. Come on. See, I always go over the ring, like every time I go around, to make sure everything's all set and nothing's like overlapping, because sometimes they'll do that. Sometimes you'll fit one in and they start to overlap. So I always go and make sure there's. See, that one wasn't all the way down. See, there's a couple of them that are doing that. So I always just go around and make sure. There's no awkward like overlaps or gaps. Alright. Let's get some more out of here because there's like maybe 20 of these left. Okay. Start up in here where there's still a lot of like excess glue. Because I want them all close to each other, but I don't want them to push each other out of the way. So I try to make sure that like everything is laid down flat. For almost at the halfway point. I got like, I think maybe 2 or 3 layers left on this, and then I gotta let it dry before I can work on the inside or the other side. It's the only catch with these, I can't do it all at, like in one sitting. Oh, I just got a notification that the other emerald I was printing just finished. It's always scary when I step away during a print, you know? Like, it's like, I hope it'll be okay. There's a gap right here for sure. I wish I could rhinestone something for Megan Thee Stallion. I just don't know what. Like, she's gonna be at this anime convention this weekend in Houston. And, like, I just, like, one, I already know how hard it would be to give her literally anything. But it's like, what could I even make that would be, like, impressive and something she would wear? Because, like, I know she has other cosplays. But, like, I don't ever see her wear a cosplay more than once. Low key, like, but I mean, I would hope that she has a really good experience with this con this weekend and she starts doing more conventions, personally. I think that would be amazing. I've thought about giving her, like, okay, like, I have this one. I have Jolene's tattoo, and I think that would be a really cool thing to make into, like, a bracelet. That could be, like, worn around the arm with the tattoo. Because I know she's cosplayed Jolene. Or, like, doing something for, like, Boa Hancock, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I know she likes Gojo. But, like, I don't know. I've rhinestoned, like, a prison realm cube before. But, you know, it's like I'd want to give her something that she would like and not just put on a shelf. Something she could, like, wear. I think the Jolene bracelet is a pretty good idea. I think that would be a pretty solid idea. But then the other thing is, can I even make it to the con? And also, like, will there even be an opportunity for me to somehow get that to her? I feel like I can maybe do one more layer towards the inside of this, maybe, like one more round. And then I gotta let it dry. It's getting a little difficult to hold, so. Trying to fit this one last stone in, but it's a little snug, maybe. There we go. I think it'll fit. Yeah, there we go. I'm just gonna make sure everything else is still lined up. It's like my least favorite part is that like sometimes you'll try to sneak these in, and then you notice some of the other ones are overlapping. Gotta make sure they're all in and glued down. Thank you. I think I can fit one ring on the inside. I don't know. I think I'm gonna let it dry because it's getting difficult to hold. So I think I'm gonna let this one dry. Put it over here. And then I can start on this little 3D printed one that I wanted to mess around with. Make sure this, I think the other one's a little cleaner. These are slightly bigger and they're more durable because they're 3D printed. And they're made with this like cool, kind of like already metallic silky material, so. I think I'm gonna try to do these in kind of like blocks versus going around. I'm gonna see how these go. Because like I see people, I mean obviously I make these for Sonic cosplay stuff, but people use these kind of rings for like bangles, for bags. I've seen them used in burlesque for like boas, just all kinds of cool stuff you can do with them. So I feel like I still have to start with a line though. Come on, why aren't they gonna? These don't want to get off. It's my wax being flat. When I get glue on the wax, it starts getting weird. I gotta make sure I keep the wax clean. But you know, I still want these to look good. I'm trying to get them as close together and like lined up as possible. This is the roughest part of it because this is where the supports were when it printed. There we go. I got a little guideline going. I feel like I might have to let this glue get a little tacky. Because it's getting, like, they do not want to, like, get off of my wax onto the ring. Which I have done plenty of rhinestoning on 3D printed stuff with this glue and it's been fine. Though I mean like using like B7 or even just like regular old super glue is said to work better just because it's like a plastic bond. I just don't want to be breathing all that in, personally. That's why I use the glue that I use. Because I have enough health problems. I don't need to be inhaling toxic glue. This is just the most complicated part of the whole ring because this is where the supports were, so if I can get through this, I can get through anything. I think it's literally just because it's uneven and curved. It's very difficult. That's why I use the stones that I use, the size that I use, because if I used any bigger stones, they actually have like a hard time sticking because of the curve of the material. I don't know why these are being so problematic though. Like, I've rhinestoned plenty of 3D printed stuff like this before, so I don't know why these are trying to act brand new, trying to humble me, but who knows? As soon as I get this little section done, I'm gonna go grab the emerald that just finished printing and pray that it came out good. Alright, the glue is getting a little tackier and it's sticking a lot better now. That's good because I was about to crash out just a little bit. if it kept giving me problems. There we go. Dang, we worked through all that the big old pile I put up here really fast. This feels like it's going faster, honestly, than doing it in lines. Just kind of filling in gaps. Like I started off with like one guideline, but now I'm just kind of filling in the gaps. This feels like it's going by faster. I need to put my watch back on so I can do a timer. But in an hour and a half, I've done an emerald and then half of one of these. And then I just started on this one. So I think that's pretty good time-wise. Yeah, working in sections like this actually ain't that bad. But that went by pretty quick. I feel. I don't know. I'd have to do the next one the other way and compare the times, and I ain't doing all that. I say that, but I probably will, because I like to experiment and figure out the best ways to do things. That just covered that piece. So fill that in some. I need more of these already. Like, scoops. These go by so fast. feel like I need to start with at least like a line. Even though I'm not doing like a full line by line, I think this helps. Even though I'm kind of just filling these in. Go in the spot. Yeah, no, I like my organized lines almost a little too much to just sporadically place everything. I'm trying to just fill in the gaps, you know, but I like my organized lines. Yeah. I don't know, I was feeling it for a little while and now I'm like, I want my organized lines. It just looks so much better. Some of these are being problematic for no reason. Like, ma'am, stay in your assigned seat, please. Yeah. I'm gonna go back to doing my lines. It was nice for a little while, but then I was like, no, I want my organized. Like when it's done, I feel like you don't even notice. But I don't know. It helps. It helps me. Even if it ain't a straight line, it's. I think I'd much rather this. like doing the lines but in these sections a little better than doing like one line all the way around, another line all the way around. I do like that better because that way I can still hold the whole ring. You know, obviously until I get to like a section where I'm gonna have to hold it differently, but alright. Back to the lineup. Yeah, this just feels a lot better. I know one of the ones I did, I was doing lines across coming out, which also kind of works. But I like coming out long ways instead of the horizontal lines. Just making sure all of these are like down. It's just such a tricky process because of the curves. Like if these stones were any bigger, they wouldn't stick right because of the curves. I tried doing some last night with like the sheet rhinestones or like the ribbon ones, and it just really was not working once I got towards the inside because like they're all lined up and they won't curve. Like I was trying to make it work, but just was not. I think I'm gonna go check on my 3D print and take a break, let my phone charge a little. I'm still on Twitch and YouTube. I'm not getting off of that yet. I'm gonna go check on this 3D print that I just did. I don't like to leave my machine running for too long after it finishes something. We did this. We've done this much on this. And we did this much on this one. In less than 2 hours, so seems pretty good. I'm gonna hang this one since I was working on this one a little weird. I have these are dry now. I use these hangers. Just put them on like that. That way they can hang and dry. I have a wire rack up here that I put them on. Thanks for hanging out and watching. I will be back later with more shiny things. Okay, Twitch, I will be right back. That's it. That's all you get, just a BRB. Alright, this came out pretty dang good, I'm not gonna lie. Though I'm putting with a different type of material, so I do need to go back into the like G-code file, whatever, and fix that, which thankfully I can do. I have it somewhere. It's just a matter of finding it. Thought I had another pair of little cutting plier things up here, but don't think I do. I thought I could have sworn I just had them, but apparently not. Sanding blocks. And I have my Dremel. But I don't really think I need either of those. Let's see. Let's see if I can find. I don't know if I can find the old file. Because I kind of had to reset my computer. Oh, there they are. I see them now. Like, I know it's on here somewhere. It's probably on the flash drive still, but the flash drive is probably only the G-code files and not the STL. And I've tried searching for the STL for the emeralds. And I haven't found it. But I know it's there somewhere. Let's see. Why is it so little? Well, it's definitely not that. I think it's this. See, I've been using this like thin tree support, but I'm using silk PLA, and this silk does not do as good with supports. So it's like they almost need to be stronger. I realized the file I have for this printed with a brim. I hate brims. what that was about. Give me a second. I hung up on them and they called back. It's so funny too because it's Verizon calling, allegedly Verizon calling. But like my number's with Verizon and I get a bunch of scam calls for her. Like the person that, oopsies, person that had the number before me. This part's just not clipping. Why are they calling me again? Hello? Hi, you just called twice. This is the wrong number. Is my camera frozen? Camera froze. Like they've called like 3 times now and I've told them twice, like, you have the wrong number. It's even funnier because it's like, this has to be a scam call because I got this number from Verizon. Verizon should know what customer they're calling. And they shouldn't be calling Cynthia's old number, whoever the heck Cynthia Trusty is. I get calls for her all the time too. Like about like houses that are up for rent, just all kinds of shit, all the time. Okay, I think I have the edge of this pretty good. Let's see if I can find the. This is the right file, so no raft. Hey Siri. Hey Siri. How many inches is 2.4 millimeters? That's not right. Hey Siri. Hey Siri. Hey Siri. How many inches is 61 millimeters? I just want to know the diameter. That looks right. I don't know. I don't care anymore. My like cloud storage on the Anycubic site is full, and I wish it would just let me buy more cloud storage, but it doesn't let me, and I have to delete files. I don't like that. Okay. Figured that out, I think. Okay. Be right back. I'm turn the printer back on. I'll be back up here. Okay, I'm gonna go because I got asked to go to Sam's, and I want to get stuff from Sam's. So, see y'all later and or tomorrow.